Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United podcast, Harry Maguire special. We finally agreed a world record fee for the England centre-back. I'm your host, TC, and here's my co-host, Scott. Hello, buddy.
Hello, pal.
On today's show, we look at how Maguire will fit into the United defence. We give updates on Bruno Fernandes, Paulo Dybala, Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku, plus other transfer rumours too. Finally, we look back on a great night in Norway and ahead to our final pre-season game against AC Milan. First, Scott, we've got our man by the looks of things.
Yeah, really happy with this, mate. Really happy we finally pushed it over the edge. £80 million you're reading, record for a defender, but, we just needed this to be done because I think the disappointment of not getting him would have been worth a lot more than the 5 or 10 million. The value was askew,
Yeah, as you say, it is looking like a world record fee. Different outlets are saying 80 or 85 million. Apparently that's plus add-ons too. Mm-hmm. At the moment, we haven't got the picture that you always like to see with him in the shirt or holding the shirt. But we do have the next best thing, which is every reputable outlet coming out and headlining. Even on the day England are playing in the Ashes against Australia, still the headline is United agree behind closed doors a fee for Harry Maguire.
Yeah, it's obviously subject to medical as well. Still needs to take his medical, which hasn't he just been ill? Didn't he pull out the last friendly for being ill?
Everyone linked with the transfer has been ill this week, mate.
It's amazing, huh? Didn't quite get him a photo of him on the golf course, but thankfully anyway.
Incredible, yeah.
But that should pretty much just be a formality, and signing the contract should be a formality as well. I would imagine he's probably going to take his photos and all that this weekend, link up with the squad on Monday, you'd probably think, right?
You would have thought so, mate. He will, he's good to go. He's been playing in Leicester's pre-season, which is a plus point for us. It means he can hit the ground running. He knows the Premier League. He's obviously started it last year and before. It's one of those ones where he'll be playing against Chelsea, mate.
Yeah, you'd have to think so. And let's really hope that he gets the success of the last fantastic number 5 we had as a centre-back, Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, and another player who we were told we'd paid too much for.
Yeah.
Again, it was a world record fee for a defender, £30 million. Back in the early 2000s, was a lot of money back there. And Rio had to ride a bit of a storm when he first came. People said he was overpriced. Mm-hmm. But he ended up being a legend and a European Cup-winning captain for United. So a high level to live up to for Harry Maguire.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think he was judged by our manager at the moment, right? There was that famous Ollie quote, Rio's very first training session, that he sort of miscontrolled the ball and Ollie turned around and said, oh, is that all 30 million gets you then?
That's exactly what he said.
Something like that.
100%.
Yeah.
Look, we're getting England's first choice centre-back here. By far, first name on the England team sheet in terms of centre-backs. 26 years old, 6'4", aerially very, very dominant. He was the number one in the Premier League last year for aerial duels won, 78%. Just what the doctor ordered back there, mate.
Yeah, he's got a good touch as well, and he's got pretty good passing distribution. I think he can tick a lot of boxes for what we were looking for, and let's hope he's a good attacking corner threat for UTC.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that very much indeed. As you say, he does have other areas to his game. First, I just want to focus on the aerial part because, look, back in that defence, we haven't had someone leading vocally or physically back there. There's been no one leading with their voices. De Gea is our best player back there, but he's not a very vocal keeper. We also don't have a centre-back who physically dominates. And now we've got someone who's going to do both, which to me is a massive, massive plus. And look, if we get some more corner goals, I'll be going wild over that, mate. There's no. We'll be doing a few betting tips for the season, and I'll give you a little sneak preview now. It'll be Harry Maguire first goal against Chelsea.
Yeah,
don't you worry about it. Especially if they dish out 35 to 1s like they did in the World Cup when I.
But it's interesting you say that because I was reading an article today that he was England's cult hero. Throughout the World Cup. I wonder what the public opinion of him is now that he's gone into a United shirt, and whether he can still keep his sort of good image throughout the whole of England,
Well, I did mention, didn't I, that they'll be calling him the new Phil Jones within weeks.
Yeah.
But, mate, one thing on the plus point is traditionally we've always had a good core of British talent. And to have England's first choice centre-back, I think is a massive plus point in terms of a number of different things. In terms of the way our club's viewed as one of them. Another one, look, all throughout history, we've always had a good part of that England team that's been in the United first team. And at the moment, we're scratching around. So I do think it's a great move in terms of that. But like you said, mate, it's not just what we're signing in terms of defender. He can also bring the ball forward too. He's very nice with the ball at his feet. Him and Lindelof back there, it's going to be very silky, isn't it?
It really is. It's going to be 3 England defenders in that back 4, and just hoping they can link up well and hopefully one day we can see him all playing for England as well.
Well, it's not beyond imagination to have Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, and Shaw playing for England.
Of course not.
If we're doing well, then those three should be walking into that team. Really,
of course.
And you know what? The other thing, I know you said he's good from corners, and he is. He's also good in big games from what I've seen. You know, defenders don't score loads and loads of goals. He scored a handful throughout his career.
He scored a great goal last year in the Cup, right?
He did against Liverpool, and that's actually what my point's going to be, mate. He scored against Liverpool, which put a right old puncture in their title balloon.
Yeah.
He scored in the World Cup quarter-final against Sweden, if you remember. He also ruined our bloody Christmas as well. Do you remember that?
I do.
In the 93rd minute. Yeah. So actually scored against United, Liverpool, and a World Cup quarter-final. He's also got an assist against Liverpool, an assist against Arsenal. So for me, he's one of these people who comes alive when the occasion's big. And that was just another little takeaway I got from just looking through his stats and enjoying a bit of Harry Maguire today.
Yeah, and if you ever want to read that we paid too much for him, you know, I would have paid more for that goal that he scored at Liverpool last year, you know?
Yes. And you know, another thing I like about him is he's not just a tackler, he's not just a predictor of play. Per game last year, 1 tackle per game, 1.1 interceptions per game, 0.6 blocks per game. So he does block the ball a lot, and he also has a variety to his game. He's not one of these guys who's always flying in for the tackle. He's nicely balanced.
Yeah, and let's just hope he's got a good rapport with the lads. He doesn't have too much a difference in culture between Leicester and Manchester. You know, it's not like getting Koulibaly in and he'd have a long time to get settled in the Premier League and get settled in Manchester and England. Let's just hope that he'll be able to sort of provide something for the team instantly and he can hit the ground running, mate.
Yeah, well, another thing that might help with that is that, I know we mentioned before on the pod that Mike Phelan actually gave him his debut for Hull. So he gave him his debut and made him a first-team regular at Hull, first time that he had Premier League experience. So Harry Maguire will be walking straight into United, shake hands with Mike Phelan, and they've got a relationship already. Mike Phelan already knows the way Harry Maguire works, which means Ollie already knows the way Harry Maguire works.
That's a really good point, mate. Really good point. He'll be able to acclimatise pretty quickly, you'd hope.
Yeah. Another plus point that comes from this is, of course, Harry Maguire likes to play as a left-sided centre-back. He is a left-sided centre-back. And it means that Lindelof can now be a fixture as the right-sided centre-back, which is actually Lindelof's preferred position too.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it'll improve him even more as well.
Yeah, and we'll have... Now, you're looking at our defence. We've got Wan-Bissaka, and then one of the old stable, Lindelof. And then we've got Maguire and one of the old stable, Shaw. So throughout that defence, I'm thinking that Wan-Bissaka's ferocity in the tackle is going to rub off on Lindelof. Maguire's calm and coolness is going to rub off on Shaw. Shaw can cover Maguire's lack of pace. It's starting to look like that's quite a decent little defensive unit we got there, mate.
Yeah, and one name you forgot there, mate, that I'm actually the most relieved to still see there is David De Gea.
Yes.
Let's not forget that. You know, I think if 2 months ago we could have thought we'd be in this position and this confident of keeping De Gea, then I think we can't forget how lucky we would feel about that.
Yeah, and if you were going to criticise De Gea in any way over his game as a whole, you would probably say it was domination of the box and sort of aerially. So you're getting someone in who's going to dominate the box. You know, he's had defenders in front of him who haven't been dominating. He's been coming out, flapping a little bit. He even did it in pre-season, didn't he? He came for a corner and it whizzed straight past him. Having Harry Maguire there, he's probably going to cover one of Dave's weaknesses too, I think.
Yeah, you'd really hope so. And let's just hope that we get a more active tackler than we have in our defence right now. You think of, for me, De Gea's maybe worst moment in the league this year was Granit Xhaka's goal at Arsenal.
Desperate.
And, you know, if you actually rewatch that goal, there was just no one closing him down. And if Maguire does like to play on the left side of that centre-back, maybe he'd be the one that would have pressed Xhaka there and not allowed the shot to come in.
Yeah, he's a very active presser of the ball, you're right.
Yeah.
He puts pressure on the guy shooting. He's not worried at all about getting hurt or anything like that.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we'll have Harry Maguire there, and we've still got Wan-Bissaka the Spider on the right as well. So we're going to have him smashing lumps out of people out there. Maguire, he's a bit more tentative than Wan-Bissaka, who isn't. Yeah, it's looking a lot better back there, mate. I'm feeling a lot more happy about going into the Premier League season with that back five.
Yeah, and it could also release the defensive midfielders a little bit, because having more confidence in your back line to be able to deal with things maybe allows you to go forward a bit more, and we can start attacking a bit more, mate. Because let's be honest, we really need to do that too.
We do. And look, Harry Maguire, like we say, it looks like it's over the line. We cannot say it is 100% sealed until we get the official confirmation from the club and the pictures. But like we say, it looks like it's done. And that leaves us 6 days to cover other positions. We've got the midfield still. We've got the right wing still. We've got a striker still, maybe. Now, the big story this week surrounding United has been the Paulo Dybala and Romelu Lukaku swap rumours that have been circling. From Italy today, Fabrizio Romano is relatively well regarded, a journalist, has said that Dybala hasn't decided yet. The offer's on the table, but Dybala is still thinking about it himself. Was expected to speak to Sarri. There was rumours that in a Juventus WhatsApp group, Ronaldo had advised him to go to Manchester because it's where Ronaldo became a champion. What do you make of it, mate? These rumours are getting louder and louder.
Yeah, they definitely are. I think he might have actually met with the representatives already and told them that he's not really wanted there, and it's pushing him in the direction of coming to United. I think maybe he does hold a couple of reservations that we're not playing in the Champions League, which isn't good to hear. But, it's obviously as well nice to hear Ronaldo doing us a favour if we do want to buy him.
Well, what I would suggest there is that, I know people have been saying we'll be pulling Juventus' pants down here if we swap Lukaku for Dybala. But Lukaku as a signing is fantastic for Ronaldo. He's almost a perfect striker for Ronaldo to play alongside. He will basically just soak up all the pressure and Ronaldo be blooming banging him in.
Yeah.
So I would suggest Ronaldo is encouraging this because he's going to get something out of it.
And you also can't forget that if Juventus don't go for Lukaku, then he's probably going to go to Inter and strengthen one of their biggest rivals.
Precisely.
So it's sort of Juventus are more inclined to want to get this done to not just strengthen them, but to weaken their opponents as well.
Yeah, another Italian journal, Alfredo Padula, said that it's 11 million plus extras that we've offered Dybala. So that's about 210,000 euros per week, which is not as much as has been bandied around. The other thing today that's popped up is that there's a potential of Mandzukic being tossed into the deal as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much they value Lukaku at, but if they want to carry on going, they can.
Yeah, you sort of look at Juventus' stable, and I think that they were pretty well stacked last year, even before they got Ronaldo. And now Ronaldo is undoubtedly the top dog there, that they've got a lot of big, important players that are going to waste. And the fact that they can't get a buyer for Higuain as well, he's sort of stuck there on this enormous contract. They've got to be realistic and think Mandzukic isn't going to get a game. And like you see in a lot of American sports, that they just trade players to get rid of their contracts. I think that they're almost doing that, but I think Mandzukic would do a really good job for us, mate. I really do.
Yeah, it would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? If Dybala and Mandzukic came in, Mandzukic obviously under the knowledge that he's not going to play too much. But yeah, he is the kind of guy who you think could have an Indian summer in the Premier League, isn't he?
Yeah, he would be a really good sub, a really good defensive forward. His pressing stats are absolutely off the charts, comparing him to Lukaku or to Rashford, and scores important goals.
You know, the other thing, buddy, is that he would be the right kind of signing in terms of attitude as well. And like you say, he hunts it down. He's got a great attitude. And can I just make a point now? Daniel James, superb attitude. What a lovely manner about him. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, superb attitude. Absolutely wonderful. Harry Maguire coming in, again, someone with a superb attitude. If Dybala and Fernandes come in too, the only one out of the five you might say is someone who has not got an outrageously good attitude would possibly be Dybala, and he's the best player out of the lot of them.
Yeah.
So
he does maybe have a bit of a worry of being a Di Maria 2.0, a part two.
I don't worry about that.
Okay.
I don't think they can make two people like that, can they?
I certainly hope not.
Or three, I suppose. Di Maria and Tevez, and Heinz. It's all the Argentines, isn't it?
Oh. Yeah, and he does tick that box.
You know our South American curse, mate. It's almost like a joke.
Yeah,
absolute joke.
That is true. Alexis Sanchez isn't ticking that box as well, is he? But I was reading an article that Dybala might actually be the key to unlocking Alexis Sanchez's potential for United. I don't know what I think about that.
Pull the other one, mate.
He's also a classic Woodward signing as well. He's got, I think, 30 odd million followers on Instagram or something like that. So he would certainly tick that box for Woodward.
Yeah. I wonder if Ed's regretting not getting that director of football in now with 6 days to go. God, why have we left it so late, mate? I know it's fantastic news. Maguire's over the line. But look, I've got a copy of Marca in front of me here, a Spanish newspaper. And they're talking today about Pogba and saying that they're looking at Donny van der Beek because the Pogba thing is hard to complete with Manchester United. Now, Pogba's actually pulled out of tomorrow's game with a back spasm, game against AC Milan in Cardiff. Now, as we said, many people across the different clubs who have been linked with moves away have pulled sickies this week. Are you reading anything into that, buddy?
I don't know. I read that he had the spasm started before the Kristiansund game this week, but he did actually play. I don't know. I actually kind of do. But, it's one of those things that if it's not true, then he's definitely not going anywhere because no one's going to sign him if he's got a bad back.
Yeah, well, the problem is, mate, is the Spanish window shuts on the 2nd of September and ours shuts in 6 days.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the Premier League agreed to this. I mean, I don't know how anyone agreed to this. The Premier League are the ones who put the idea forward. And everyone signed off on it. And when it came out, we said it was bonkers, didn't we, mate? We were talking to each other, just saying, why? This is a mental idea.
Yeah, you know what, mate? Last year's Champions League final was 2 English clubs. Europa League final was 2 English clubs. Yeah, I know it's a very small sample size, but you can't say that it's detrimenting to the English squads,
But it's the first time it's happened, mate.
It's the first time that's happened as well.
So, I mean...
So it's just a strange coincidence, but
yes.
they're going to use that as saying, well, it's not really detrimenting anything. Look at the last Champions League and Europa League finalists.
Yeah, well, the problem's going to come, mate, is that if this Pogba thing kicks off again, we're not going to be able to do anything about it. And I just worry that he's behaving himself now, and once that transfer window here shuts, look, I don't know, mate. It could be that we're trying to get people over the line before the window shuts, and then we'll still sell Pogba. Now, David Amoyal of Damasio has said that Bruno Fernandes is quite likely to sign for Manchester United after Sunday's their effective Community Shield. So their Super Cup in Portugal. Mm-hmm. He's going to say his goodbyes, and then he is going to travel and sign for Manchester United, apparently.
But he left training today.
Yeah.
Left training in the middle of the training today.
Yes.
You can't imagine he's going to be preparing for Sunday's game after leaving training today.
Yeah, I don't know. He was crying after the last match as well. He did also add, this journo, that it's not Dybala or Fernandes. It could be both. Mm-hmm. If it was both, and we kept Pogba, and we got Maguire in with Wan-Bissaka, you're pretty much looking at an off-the-chain transfer window there, and absolutely outrageous. However, we get Maguire in, we got Wan-Bissaka, we got Danny James as well, don't forget. If we got Dybala, Fernandes, and then Pogba went, I'd look at that and say, if you deduct the money, the Pogba money, we should have bought more. Yeah,
well, let's not forget that the name Paulo Dybala did not really come up before last week as a serious name. We were mentioning Milinkovic-Savic as someone to come in to replace Pogba if he did leave, and I think that if anything, this swap deal has sort of turned everyone's head, and it sort of reminds me a little bit of the Falcao situation a few years ago, how it just sort of came out of nowhere. And I hope we're not buying Dybala just for the sake of it. And he's someone that can actually fit into our team and fit into the system we play, and is not just a token signing.
Yeah, well, I know we did say if Lukaku goes out, we need to replace him. But we did discuss, didn't we? We said it could be a striker, or it could be a forward. It could be a forward player. Now, that's the way I see it. That's a replacement for Lukaku.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a forward player. That's fine. No worries.
Yeah, but up until last week, we only thought we were getting 75 million for Lukaku.
Yes.
If we could get that. And now it's all of a sudden it's a player.
Of course. No, but look, we thought we'd go out and buy a striker. Look, if we can get Dybala in instead of Lukaku, that's great. But we've lost Herrera and we lost Mo Fellaini as well. We'd be effectively replacing them with any midfielder that we bought. And we want to improve our midfield too. So realistically, if Pogba went, it would have to be Fernandes and Milinkovic-Savic and Dybala.
Yeah.
Which seems, I mean, it's taken Ed 2 months to do Wan-Bissaka and Maguire. So I just can't see it happening.
I think the money wouldn't be there. I think, as I'm saying, we've relied on getting 75 million quid for Lukaku, which will essentially pay Milinkovic-Savic. And now that we're not getting that money and getting a player instead, I don't even think we would have the money to be able to replace Pogba.
Well, we've got the money. It's just whether they're willing to spend the money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. But this is what I worry about Pogba, you see.
Because we just spent 80 million on Maguire today. We've got to spend 60 million or so on Bruno, which is amazing given we spent all summer negotiating it and we end up paying full whack.
It's bonkers.
The negotiation is really crazy.
Let's have a look at the Maguire one, shall we? How long has it taken to seal this deal? What, a year and 4 months?
Yeah, well over a year, mate. and what was funny is we were basking last year being like, bloody hell, I'm not spending 65 on him. And now here we are being like, 80 million quid, I can't believe we got him so cheap. It's insane.
I know, buddy. That's so true. We could have had him last year, we could have avoided all that nonsense. Maybe we'd still have Mourinho as manager, though. Who knows, eh?
Yeah.
Who knows, buddy? But yeah, so that's some positive news from Amayol there. Looks like the Fernandes one is still a possibility. The Sergej Milinkovic-Savic rumours have gone a little bit quieter, along with the Pogba rumours going quieter. So we will see.
Yeah, and you've got to think as well that signing one of Pogba's best mates maybe wants to keep him at United for another year or so. And maybe he's been watching Real Madrid's pre-season and thought, God, I'm not going to touch that with a 20-foot stick.
The whole mates thing, I'm not buying. The whole Real Madrid pre-season,
right.
I am buying. That, you look at that. Yeah. We mentioned, how long ago was it now? Probably 5 months ago. I said, careful what you wish for, Pogba. You'll go to Real Madrid, and by the end of the season, next season, you'll have Jose Mourinho as your manager. Yeah. I tell you what, I'll revise that. In a couple of weeks, you can have Jose Mourinho as your manager. It's going to
happen really soon, mate. I can't see Zidane staying there, especially if he doesn't get Pogba. He's going to quit around October.
But this is what I was thinking, pal, that maybe the actual stumbling block of Real Madrid signing Pogba, maybe the real stumbling block is, it's a lot more complicated than people from the outside think. Zidane wants Pogba. He's his first choice, 100%. Zidane's no longer in the good books at Real. You only need to see the newspapers and the TV programs in Spain. They're not happy about Zidane whatsoever. Zidane doesn't look happy either, at all. Yeah. So the truth is that Madrid are stuck between a rock and a hard place here, thinking, right, we want to make Zidane happy. We want to give Zidane the best chance possible. But if Zidane was to go, who's one of our first choices to replace him? Jose Mourinho. Yeah. Jose Mourinho comes in, we've got the Manchester United Paul Pogba problem. Yeah. So that might be one of the massive sticking blocks for this deal.
And you've got to think as well that when they've already spent, I think it's 400 million euros this summer, right? And you've got to think that when Zidane came on board and they said, yeah, we'll let you spend 500 million euros and you can get anyone you want. And don't worry, we'll get rid of some of the dead wood. We'll sell Bale. We'll probably get 60, 70 million for him. And we'll sell Isco. We'll probably get 40, 50 million for him. Yeah. And so you'll have 500 million to spend as long as you get rid of some of this dead wood as well. And they haven't managed to shift anyone. They were just going to give Bale away for free just to try and get him off the books because they needed that enormous salary to be able to pay Pogba. And that didn't happen. And now he's sat there being like, well, I thought we could sign all these players. And the hardest one to sign was obviously going to be the most expensive one, especially when they haven't managed to get rid of any of this dead wood.
Yeah. No, you're spot on, mate. You're spot on. And it's looking like they're doing to Zidane what we did to Mourinho. And that's basically not back him. Yeah. And then when you don't back him, you only need to look at Zidane's facial expressions at the moment. He's not happy at all.
Oh, he's like a bulldog chewing a wasp. I watched that pre-season game against Atletico, and they were 5-6-0 down, and you couldn't believe it. And Diego Costa was making fools out of all of them, mate. Yeah, you did.
I told you Diego Costa was all right, and I tell you who else I told you was all right as well, and he was bloody brilliant. Was João Felix?
It was.
Do you see him pulling the strings?
Did you see him standing next to Kaká this week? It looked like father and son, mate. I couldn't believe it.
Mate, he is a right player, and that Madrid friendly, dear me, that was absolutely awful stuff. I mean, we look at the state of United and we bemoan it sometimes. Madrid, they don't half get themselves in a tangle, do they?
No, it would have been like us going up against Tottenham and getting smashed 7-3. Can you imagine being 6-0 down to Tottenham or something like that? It is.
You know what I thought, mate? Actually, I thought after some of our pre-season games and watching that as well. There was a reason back in the day that you didn't play teams that were close to you, deadly rivals in pre-season. Yeah. First of all, because you can smash each other up without many repercussions, which is exactly what happened. Yeah. I'm looking at the Spurs game. Yeah. They're just basically trying to injure our players. Yeah. Second of all, what can happen in pre-season is you can get absolutely spanked like Madrid did, and it can have a massive scarring effect on you that you don't need to do in pre-season. You don't need to put yourself up to those potential problems.
You're absolutely right.
And so it's bizarre. It's like this. I guess what's happened is we've gone away on tours and we've loved the money we get from the tours, all the different teams, not just United. And then we've realised the opposition's not good enough. So, you might go to Singapore, but playing against a Singaporean team doesn't quite do the job. So instead now we're playing other teams there.
And it doesn't pack the stadium.
Exactly.
A few years ago, we played in front of 100,000 fans in Michigan playing Real Madrid. And I think if we went there to play DC United or anything like that, we wouldn't be getting half that or a quarter of that. No. Especially because the tickets are $180, like the cheapest tickets. Yeah. Just to go and sit in the nosebleeds, $180 to watch them play the LA Galaxy, which I did a few years ago, but we won 7-2, which is always fun. It was Louis van Gaal's first game. I think that was the same tour. But do you remember the year that we went to China and got smashed 4-0 to Dortmund?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
and it just had, we didn't get over it for a month, and we had an awful start to the season.
Yeah, it's just not worth the risk. It's something that never used to happen. It's just another thing we have to get used to, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, mate, let's touch on, we obviously had another victory in the week, 1-0 victors in Norway. First of all, shout out to all our Norwegian fans. I know they're sort of in the top 4 of countries listening to the 100% United pod. So massive shout out to them.
Yeah.
Kristiansund put up a very, very good performance indeed. The crowd were absolutely sensational, and some lovely moments too. So, mate, what were your thoughts? Takeaway 1-0 victors, late Juan Mata penalty.
Yeah, it's funny. Just the one thing I maybe did take away from the game was that we were pretty rusty. Our finishing, we had a lot of good chances, and we just need our finishing to get polished off. And now we're sitting here talking about Real Madrid getting stuffed. You sort of realise that that's not really the end of the world if our finishing just needs a bit of touching up. Defensively, we were pretty good. They maybe had the best chance of the game apart from the penalty at the end.
Yeah.
With that free header.
Yes.
But, I thought that Scott McTominay had another great game, mate. Really gaining a lot of confidence in the middle of the park and sort of bossing that midfield. What did you think?
I thought exactly the same. There were a couple of takeaways. Scott McTominay was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's really turning into someone who we can rely on soon.
Yeah.
And I thought Tahith Chong was fantastic again as well.
Yeah.
But, just on those corners, mate, don't you worry about me. We're going to have Paulo Dybala swinging them into Harry Maguire before you know it.
Yeah,
so
let's hope so.
You just hang fire on that one, big boy.
For the penalty, mate, did you think it was a dive, or do you think the keeper got a bit of contact?
No, it's a stonewaller as usual.
It was a great assist from Pogba.
It was a really, really lovely pass again, yeah.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah, and I'm not too sure what you make of him not wanting to take the penalty,
Ollie's first game in Cardiff, Jesse Lingard took a penalty when Pogba was on the field, didn't he?
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
And Jesse Lingard won the penalty, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And Juan Mata won the one on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the pattern. Maybe Pogba's willing to give it to a person if they won the spot kick themselves. I don't know.
Yeah.
Might be the case. Or maybe he couldn't be bothered to run 20 metres for his runner.
It was good to see Rashford and Martial switching positions quite a lot, sort of almost both in free roles and just allowed to switch it up.
Yeah, well, like we've mentioned months and months ago, didn't we? We said about the whole Rashford number 9 fallacy and the fact that people peddle this thing, he's got to be number 9, he's got to be number 9. But he's always said himself that he's not bothered.
Yeah.
He's always said himself that he likes playing wide, he likes playing centre forward, he likes playing number 10, he likes being the ultimate forward. So it looks like, that's what's happening. But it also looks like Martial's going to start the season as our number 1, number 9.
Yeah, which is good because I think Rashford's maybe a bit more threatening coming in from the left than he is playing through the middle.
Do you think we might give Martial back his number?
Perhaps. Be interesting, wouldn't it?
What do you think? There's a few options, isn't there? There's let's think if Dybala did come in, there's the possibility of Marcus Rashford going down to number 9 and Dybala taking number 10. There's also the possibility of Martial going down to number 9, Dybala slipping into number 11, or Dybala did actually wear number 9 for, I think it was Palermo he played for. So there's a few options there.
Yeah, there is. If we manage to get Bruno Fernandes in as well, he's got the number 8 tattooed on his arm. I don't know what he's going to do about that.
Yes, he does indeed. Yeah, it is his favourite number, the number 8 by far.
So I don't know if Juan Mata could get in on that if the number 10 is going to be free.
I don't know about that one, to be honest with you, buddy. No. But we will see. We will see. It might be quite nice to put Martial back in number 9. I would say that.
Which would be great because I have 2 shirts with Martial 9 on the back.
There you go, mate. Yeah. There you go. I think it might make Martial pretty happy as well.
Probably, yeah.
The Norway game, there were a few long shots. Overall, a good run out. It was an interesting one and one magic moment, you have to say. Who would have thought if you said to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that one day your son will make his debut for Kristiansund against Manchester United, and you'll be the manager of Manchester United. Yeah. He just said, "Get out of here! Go on, be gone with you. Yeah. Get out dreamland."
Yeah, and have your other son sitting on the bench with you.
Unbelievable, eh?
Yeah,
lovely moment for Ollie. Really, really nice. So, mate, on to AC Milan in Cardiff. So Daniel James will turn to Wales.
Yep,
and we have a chance of winning the title, mate. The International Champions Cup. We are unbeaten at the moment. Benfica top the table with 3 wins out of 3, 9 points. If we were to beat AC Milan, we would have to do it by 3-goal margin, which would put us level on points, put us level on goal difference, level on goals scored, and would win it on having a better result against an equivalent opponent in AC Milan. Do you understand that, mate?
Yeah, just about.
Not the bit of silverware you were looking for this season, but it'd be a start, mate.
No, I'm not going to start celebrating like we just won the league. I don't think we can quite get the badge on the shirt yet.
No, but we will. So Pogba won't be playing. There will be no Pogba. Do you expect us to have a sort of skeleton 11?
Yeah, I do. I think this is probably going to be the closest 11 that we'll be playing next Sunday.
Yeah.
Although you got to think that Maguire's going to be coming in, so there's obviously going to be a couple of changes.
I tell you what, mate, we're going to wrap the pod up in a second, but a bit of fun. We haven't prepared for this at all, so it's right off the cuff. With signings, what is your lineup for Chelsea?
De Gea in goal.
So I'll go to De Gea in goal. Yeah, I'll meet you there. Right back, Spider.
Wan-Bissaka right back. Victor Lindelof right centre back.
Me too.
Harry Maguire left centre back.
Me too.
Luke Shaw left back.
Big time.
Scott McTominay centre midfield.
I'm with you.
I want to go Paul Pogba central midfield.
And me too.
Oh man, I'm gonna go Jesse.
Bruno Fernandes in there.
Oh
mate.
yeah.
Jesse Lingard, get out of there! Come on.
Right.
What are you doing?
I was gonna say Jesse Lingard number 10.
Bruno Fernandes. You don't want Bruno Fernandes on the bench or what?
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes will be on the bench. I'm thinking. I want to put Paulo Dybala in the team, but I don't want to be too optimistic and start saying Ed Woodward's going to have the week of his life.
I'm putting both in, mate. I'll slag him off on the 8th if he doesn't pull it off. Yeah, I'm putting both in. Don't you worry about that.
All right. So Bruno Fernandes, number 10. Paulo Dybala, right winger. Anthony Martial up top and Marcus Rashford on the left.
I'll second on that, Scott.
Let's all touch wood, mate.
Man for man. Daniel James coming off the bench. That's going to be a really nice thing this season. When we're leading by a small margin or chasing a game, especially when we're leading by a small margin, just soak it up, ping him on the break. You got Martial, you got Rashford, you got Danny James on the break. See you later, game over.
Yeah, let's not forget that Diogo Dalot plays on the right as well. I think those stats came out today that he was actually the quickest in the whole squad. And he's always going to be a good sub as well, mate. Don't forget him.
Dalot, the quickest, quicker than Daniel James?
Yeah, quicker than Daniel James. And Lukaku.
Give over.
Lukaku was number 2. Yeah, if you look at Romelu Lukaku's Twitter, he went across the charts of slowest to quickest, and Dalot was first, Lukaku was second, Daniel James I think was 3rd or 4th.
To be fair, after his first 5 yards, Lukaku is rapid. Once he gets going,
he is.
You see him absolutely burn people.
Yeah, it's like a freight train.
Yeah. A bit better when he's carrying a little bit less weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's probably going to be old news, Lukaku, mate. So we'll have Mandzukic taking his place instead on the speed charts. You know what? I think Lukaku will do well for Juventus. I think he'll get mixed reviews, but I think he will have a successful time. He'll support Ronaldo quite well. I think he'll do all right. But, mate, the truth is that there is no potion like winning at United. There's no other way. Yeah. There's no other thing that matches it. So it's all very well. Lukaku can go over there. He can win a Serie A, a Coppa Italia, get to a Champions League final, do what he wants to do. But in football, there's no better way than winning at United. There's no better achievement than putting United back at the top of the tree. And the lads who are going to be around for that, they're going to be the ones that remain in our hearts forever.
Of course.
Not your Lukakus and not your people who jump ship to suit their own means.
I tell you what, in 20 years' time, when he's recognised, he'll be recognised as a Manchester United player over being a Juventus player. No matter what he ever wins there. Wherever he goes the rest of his life, people will will look at him and think he was a Manchester United player before anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you look at Mourinho now, and the first thing people look at him is he managed Man United. And you forget about him managing Real Madrid, Chelsea, Porto, Inter Milan, etc. You know, the first thing that's ever used to describe Jose Mourinho now is Manchester United manager.
Yeah, this is the truth, mate. This is the truth. Even Henrik Larsson for those 4 months, eh?
Yeah, it's so funny.
What a 4 months they were too, mate. I tell you what, honestly, I had a season ticket at the time and his movement was just another level. He was one of those players where you see him live
it was so
and
smart.
It's a different story. He had lost his pace, but he was magic. He only scored a couple of goals, but the way he brought people on, the way he passed on his experience, that was a pretty cool few months, that was.
Yeah, definitely was. But you're absolutely right. He must have scored 400 times for Celtic, but he's remembered for playing 4 months in the red shirt.
And he looked happier than he'd ever done as well.
Yeah. What a great bit of business from Fergie. What a great bit of business.
The old master, mate. The old master indeed.
He had a few weird loan signings. Remember we signed Andy Gorham out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, what's going on here? He's just trying to get some of his mates in. And then every so often he would just pull out something you just weren't expecting, you know?
None will ever beat that afternoon at the Etihad when Paul Scholes popped up out of nowhere, out of retirement. God alive. I had to check I was still alive that day, mate. I didn't know what was going on. Incredible.
Do you remember, it was a long, maybe 20 years ago, we signed that William Prunier.
Of course I blooming do.
Out of absolutely nowhere, played twice, wasn't very good, see you later.
Who scouted him? Was it Fergie's brother again?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Oh God, Prunier was bad, isn't he? You got to remember, mate. You got to remember back in those days. These days, you've got computers. You've got all kinds of statistics. You've got all kinds of details and all the players all around the world. A kid playing a computer game can gather a good bit of information on a player.
Yeah.
Back in those days, you're literally relying on friends. You're relying on going to games. You're relying on written reports. Don't forget George Weah's cousin, in inverted commas, signed for Southampton.
Yeah. But you're right. You were just listening to other people's opinions. You didn't really even have any evidence yourself.
Yeah. You didn't even have YouTube. They were not the video footage. But yes, like we say, back in the day, you had to be a lot more savvy. There was not this vast swathes of information we have these days. You really had to be on the ball. And yeah, some of the people you picked up were duffs.
Yeah.
But you're right. Today's the day. Harry Maguire looks to have sealed a deal to Manchester United, and it's made us very, very happy indeed. We'll be back in our traditional Monday night slot, ready for Tuesday morning UK time. Remember to subscribe to the 100% United podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or any of the big podcast apps. Follow our Instagram at United100podcast too. Thanks for joining me again, Scott.
Thank you, pal.
Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.